What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home. A very good evening and welcome to Weekend Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
The youth hope for an economy that generates jobs. President says in Jaffna. Warrior Polo and Kandy SLPP activists endorsed Ranil for president. SLPP General Secretary announces disciplinary actions against members disregarding party stance. Party members responded to General Secretary's directives.
කටනං අවුස්ස ගන්න එපා. විනය පරීක්ෂණ කරනවා නම් කරන්න ඕනේ. මේ අය ලේකම් හැටියට මෙච්චර කාලයක් තියාගෙන හිටියට තමයි විනය පරීක්ෂණය කරන්න ඕනේ. මේ ලේකම්.
Dayasiri represented faction backs Sajid Premadasa for president.
එයා අපි ගත්ත ඓතිහාසික තීරණයක්.
LiDAR technology reveals hidden garden in Polonnaruwa.
Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka decides.
Sri Lanka decides.
First up in news here at home, President Ranil Wickremesinghe visited Batikla today, and during his visit, the president held discussions with State Minister Vyalendran, extending invitations to other political leaders to join hands to take the nation forward.
වියලේන්ද්‍රන් ඇමතිතුමා මාව ජනාධිපති කරන්න ඡන්දය දුන්නා. ඒ ආණ්ඩුවේ අපි එකට
Minister Vyalendran voted in favour of appointing me as the president. He worked together with us in the government. No one thought it was possible to rebuild this economy. Sajid Premadasa ran away when asked to accept the position of Prime Minister. Anrukumara Disanayake was nowhere to be found. They said the government won't survive for 3 months. We have completed 2 years with the same government and now we are preparing for the elections. All these ministers and MPs, including Minister Vyalendran, save the economy and the nation by supporting me. There are no fuel queues or medicine queues today. We have signed agreements with IMF and the creditor countries. I had to increase taxes according to our revenue, but since we have strengthened the rupee and our revenue, reliefs will be put in place gradually. We need to continue with this agreement. If the agreement is breached, we will not get any funds in the future. The opposition claims they will change all of this, but if such changes are made, this agreement will be violated. What will be left for us then? The opposition does not have a solution. We need to move forward step by step. We have made plans to develop the port of Trincomalee and establish an investment zone of 1,000 acres in collaboration with India to bring Indian industries here. We have made all plans to initiate this by next year. Let's all move along this journey together.
වියලේන්ද්‍රන් මැතිතුමාටත් ආණ්ඩුකාරතුමාටත් ඔක්කොම කියලා අපි එකතු වෙලා ඒ ගමන යමු බය නැතුව.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the foremost expectation of the youth community is an economy that generates jobs. He expressed these views during a meeting with staff members of Udayan newspaper this morning.
No one spoke about the minuses in the provincial council powers established by the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. I asked what is enshrined in the Constitution. There is no plus or minus. Shall I ask you a question now? Everyone is asking me about the devolution of powers for development. That most dire need everywhere is the need for jobs as means of living. They ask what their future will be. Those youth are no different from the youth in the south. There are needs to be significant development. There are political issues that I am trying to solve. The main challenge we faced as a country is overcoming bankruptcy. We solved that issue in July. We are working on this issue after solving that crisis. You must remember that our first issue was bankruptcy. We came here because of economic issues. People first look at the economy of the country. Even here the youth ask me about development and jobs. They do not ask anything else. The youth I've met in the last few days only asked about these.
The president also said that he will work to ensure that all provinces in Sri Lanka will have provincial councils and administration with far more powers.
State of Palestine and the state of Israel was recognized in 1948, but the state of Palestine hasn't come into existence. So that is what happened at the very beginning. Actually, Palestine was the original state. Out of Palestine you carved Israel. So Israel is there, Palestine isn't. But as far as I am concerned, I am going to ensure that all the provinces in Sri Lanka will have their own provincial council and the provincial administration with far more powers. Each province must develop itself. The government will give them all the facilities and the help to do so. And there's great opportunities for the northern province to develop, especially solar energy and the wind power coming in. We'll have a big, and the agriculture modernizing. But I want all 9 provinces to come out and develop.
The Samagi Jana Balavega Gampa District War Heroes Conference was held today under the leadership of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa.
Dinu Deshya Surakimu Divi Dina Ranaviru Samakaranayaka.
The 10th phase of the Samagi Jana Balavega Gampa District War Heroes Conference was held today. Chairman of the Dividena Ranaviru organization, General Mahesh Senanayaka, and retired war heroes from the Triforces and other defense units attended the conference. The program was organized by Harshana Rajakaruna and other political representatives.
සූදානම් වන්න මානුෂීය මෙහෙයුමේ දෙවෙනි පියවර අපි
We will launch the second phase of our humanitarian mission on the 21st of September by not only bringing to justice the traitors who bankrupted this nation, but also by acquiring all our stolen assets. The main force of the SJB in our mission is the Dividena Ranaviru organization of the SJB. Yesterday we claimed victory on behalf of the 22 million people of this country. What was that victory? The rogue gang led by Ranil Wickremesinghe tried to give the job of issuing visas to a company called VFS. On behalf of our people, the Supreme Court issued an order restricting that. There is a group that makes no noise about this deal. There are those ones who will apparently build the country and catch thieves. When the Rajapaksas were bankrupt in the country, who were the ones who bravely went to the courts and sought justice? That is not just our victory. This is a victory that was won by 22 million people.
ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයට ගිහිල්ලා 4න් එකේ තීන්දුව ගත්තේ කවුද? ඒක අපේ ජයග්‍රහණයක් විතරක් නෙවෙයි. ඒක ලක්ෂ 220කගේ ජයග්‍රහණයක්.
Meanwhile, the manifesto of the National People's Power for Differently Abled Persons was launched today by the party leader Anura Kumara Dissanayaka.
In a ceremony held in Colombo today, the National People's Power unveiled their manifesto for differently abled persons.
මේ අඳුරුභාවය අතීතයට බාර දීලා සුබ උදෑසනක් අපේ රට තුළ නිර්මාණය කරගත හැකි කියන දැඩි විශ්වාසයක් සහ බලාපොරොත්තුවක් අපට.
I would like to say for certain that we can overcome the current darkness and unveil a new era. The first question we are asking is, what is the mentality regarding this community? When you go to the police and remain silent when questioned, the instinctive reaction of the police officer is, are you deaf or dumb? Things are said as an insult. They insult me about my mole sometimes. That is okay. What I'm trying to say is that a disability is not something anyone wishes for. In a television debate, a former president said that manifestos are unveiled during election time and are not to be given much attention. What is this manifesto we are launching today? This is the agreement between you and us. The agreement between the voter and the candidate. The candidates are bound to give effect to their manifestos. All of you must be accepted as a normal part of society and be treated as such. We are ready to take any action needed in that regard. No matter how many manifestos we make, we show improvements using bar charts. Some we make to show economic growth, but this manifesto is not made with data but with humanity.
ආර්ථික වර්ධනය වේගය කොහොමද ඉස්සරහට යන්නේ කියලා පෙන්වන දත්ත ඇතුලේ. හැබැයි මේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශනයේ තියෙන දත්ත ඇතුලේ වේ මනුස්සත්වය ඇතුලේ.
Leader of the National People's Power, Kumara Dissanayake, recently met with a delegation from the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. Posting on X, he said a copy of their publication, Vision 2030 5-Year Economic Plan, was presented during the meeting. The meeting was led by the chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Duminda Hulangamua. National Executive Committee members of the NPP were also present.
The Turning Point.
A Polonnaruwa district party meeting of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held this morning and was chaired by Namal Rajapaksa, who is the party's national organizer.
The Polonnaruwa district party meeting of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna took place at the residence of State Minister Siripala Gamlat in Giritale.
මේ වෙනකොට දේශපාලන මණ්ඩලයේ තීන්දුවක් අරගෙන තියෙනවා පොහොට්ටුවේ ලකුණ ඡන්ද පත්‍රිකාවේ තියෙන්න ඕනේ කියන කාරණේ. ඉතින් එතනින් එහාට යන සාකච්ඡා පක්ෂ දේශපාලන මණ්ඩලය සහ දේශපාලන පක්ෂ නිලධාරී මණ්ඩලය කළ යුතු කාර්ය. පොහොට්ටුවේ ලකුණ ගෙනන නම් ඔයාලා සහයෝගය දක්වන අරන් ලිඛිත මාතර. පොහොට්ටුව කියන පක්ෂය අපේ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය එක්ක අපිට තියෙන ගැටලුව තියෙන්නේ පුද්ගලයෝ එක්ක නෙවෙයි. ඒ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය එක්ක ඕනෑම කෙනෙක් එක්ක අපිට වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන්. අනුරාධපුරේ 3 දිනක් වයින් වුණා ඊයේ. ඒතර ඔබතුමා තමයි දැන් එහි බලන්නේ. මොකද සත්‍ය දැන්? අනුරාධපුරත් අපි නිරන්තරයෙන් යන්නේ තැනක්. ඉතින් අද දිනේදී අපේ ක්‍රියාකාරීන් අපි මුණ ගැහෙනවා. ඒ අයත් එක්කත් ඉදිරි මැතිවරණවලදී අපි සාකච්ඡා කරනවා. ඔබතුමාට ජනාධිපතිවරණයට ඉල්ලන්නේ කියලා මේ කට්ටිය කියන පාක්ෂිකයෝ මොකද හිතන්නේ? පක්ෂයක් විදිහට ගන්න ඕනෑම තීන්දුවක් එක්ක අපි ඉන්නවා.
The Turning Point.
The Warrior Pull electorate activists of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna unanimously decided today to support Ranil Wickremesinghe in the upcoming presidential election.
Ranil Wickremesinghe මැතිතුමත් එක්ක යන්න ඕන කියලා ඔබතුමාලා කැමති නම් කරුණා කරලා අත්උස්සලා මේක අනුමත කරලා දෙන්න. විරුද්ධ නම් අත්උස්සන්න එපා. වාරිය පලාසනේ ක්‍රියාකාරිකයෝ සියලු දෙනාම මේ ඉන්නේ අපේ ප්‍රාදේශ සභාවේ മന്ത്രിවරු සමපකාරී අධ්‍යක්ෂකවරු හිටපු සභාපතිතුමා ඇතුළු ඒ ඔක්කොම සහ අපේ මධ්‍ය සංවිධානයේ තීන්දුව කරා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාට ජනාධිපති වෙන්නදී සහයෝගය පළ කරන්න.
The Turning Point.
The Kandy district Balamandala of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, which convened last night, unanimously resolved to endorse Ranil Wickremesinghe in the upcoming presidential election.
Mahanawar district නියෝජනය කරමින් ඡන්දයෙන් පත්වෙච්ච පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරු 6 දෙනා මෙතන නියෝජනය කරනවා. දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ පළාත් සභා මන්ත්‍රීතුමාලා, ප්‍රාදේශ සභා සභාපතිතුමාලා සියලුම පළාත් පාලන නියෝජිතයන් මෙතන නියෝජනය කරනවා. ජනාධිපතිවරණය රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමාට සහාය දී යුතුයි කියලා මහනුවර දිස්ත්‍රික් සංවිධානය අපි තීරණය කරනවා. ඒකට කැමති අය අත උස්සලා සහාය ලබා දෙන්න ඒකට ඉල්ලීම කරනවා. ජයේවා. ජයේවා. දෙකම උස්සනවා. ඔබ ඉන්න පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්න. ජයේවා. පොදුජන පෙරමුණේ වෙනම අපේක්ෂකයෙක් දානවට කැමති මන්ත්‍රීතුමාලා අත උස්සන්න ඔබට අවස්ථාවක් ලබා දෙනවා. එක්කෙනෙක්වත් විරුද්ධ නැතුව ඒකවතිකව තීරණය කරනවා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ
මේ තීරණය ගන්න අපි යකුන්ට බය නම් සෝනේ ගෙවල්ලා දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා ඕනේ කෙනෙකුට විනය පරීක්ෂණ තියන්න පුළුවන්. මොනවා කිව්වත් අපේ තීන්දුව එච්චරයි. තව සතියක් යනකොට නෙළුම් මාවත කාර්යාලයේ ඇඟිලි 5ටත් අඩු වෙනවා. ඒක බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්.
The Turning Point.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna General Secretary Sagar Kariwasam said that the party's Politburo has decided to initiate disciplinary actions against individuals found to be working against the party's official stance. This decision has been formally communicated through written notices to all members of parliament as well as former provincial council and local government representatives. The Politburo in its latest meeting made strategic decisions regarding the upcoming presidential election. It was decided to endorse a presidential candidate from the SLPP. Disciplinary measures are set to be enforced against any party member found supporting candidates outside the endorsed framework.
මේ බලන්න සාගර කාර්යවසම් අපේ මහලේකම්තුමා මට ලිපියක් එවලා දිනවා. මේ ලිපියේ තියෙන්නේ මගේ විනය සම්බන්ධ.
Look at this. Our General Secretary has sent me a letter regarding disciplinary matters. I must inform our General Secretary that during the recent unfortunate incident where a loyal party member was brutally murdered and more than 70 houses were set on fire by opposing members, our party faced severe challenges. Despite these adversities, when our party members were attacked and subjected to humiliating treatment, the General Secretary was inactive. It is inappropriate to remain silent. If a disciplinary investigation is to be conducted, it should include those who have held the position of General Secretary for so long. These people must first cease their unwarranted criticism. P.L. Nishantha did not come from the national list, unlike many others who have been removed from their positions. The elephant has left, only the tail remains. We cannot be intimidated by letters and documents. Despite receiving 6.9 million votes, we were unable to even construct a culvert. We had to shelter under the culvert. It is necessary to respect the leadership that has transformed this situation. Why are we still unable to stand in the line of duty? We will not tolerate that treatment again.
පෝලිං ගානේ ඉන්නත් බෑ නැවත ආයෙ ගුටි කන්නත් බෑ නැවත මැරෙන්නත් බෑ ගිනි තියාගන්නත් බෑ.
The Turning Point.
Former President and leader of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Mahinda Rajapaksa, has dismissed reports of a private discussion with President Ranil Wickremesinghe last night as untrue. In a statement posted on his Facebook account, Mahinda Rajapaksa cautioned the public against being misled by fabricated news, particularly during the current presidential election period. He emphasized the need to avoid spreading false information for political gain.
The Turning Point.
Other leaders of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and the Samagi Janabala Vegya holding private discussions with the President. Director General of Trade Unions to the President expressed these views.
They meet not only at night but also during the day. Many members of the Samagi Janabala Vegya meet the President at the Parliament and the President's office. Sometimes we don't have time to meet the President. There are also so many people queuing to see him. People from many political parties come to meet the President. Therefore, no one can stop him from crossing over.
The Turning Point.
After a meeting of the Samagi Janabala Vegya electorate organisers held this morning at the SJB party headquarters under the leadership of Sajith Premadasa, questions arose regarding the alleged private discussions between the parties.
ජීවිතේට වෙන්නේ මං කන් දෙකම කපනවා ඔබතුමා මට එහෙම එකක් පෙන්නුවා නායකතුමා ඍජුව ප්‍රකාශයක් කරා මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ එක්කවත් නාමල් රාජපක්ෂ එක්කවත් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ එක්කවත් එකතු වෙන්නේ නැහැ කිසිම ඩීල් එකක් නැහැ අපි දිනනවා
අපි කොයි වෙලාවෙත් හිතන්න ඕනේ අපිට තියෙන අභියෝගය ශක්තිමත් එක පැත්තකින් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඉන්නවා අනිත් පැත්තෙන් අනුකුමාර දිසානායක මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඉන්නවා කවුරු හරි ධම්මික පෙරහරි මන් දන්නේ කවුරු හරි මේ පැත්තෙන් එක්කෙනෙකුත් ඒවි එතකොට මේක තුන්කොන් සටන හතරකොන් සටනක් වගේ පෙරලෙන්න පුළුවන් කොයි වෙලාවෙත් හිතන්නේ අපිට අභියෝග තියෙනවා ඒ අභියෝගය ජයග්‍රහණය කරන්න නම් මහන්සිලා වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ.
The Turning Point.
The faction of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, represented by MP Dayasiri Jayasekara, has decided to support opposition leader Sajith Premadasa in the upcoming presidential election. The decision was announced during a special media briefing this afternoon.
අපි තීරණයක් ගත්තා අද දවසේ ඉදිරියේ පැවැත්වෙන ජනාධිපතිවරණයේදී සමගි ජනබල
We made a decision today to support the leader of the Samagi Jana Alliance and the opposition leader Sajith Premadasa in the upcoming presidential election. It is a historic decision because we were anti-government as a party. As the SLFP, our central committee was against the government. Therefore, we cannot support the government. We will continue to be firm with the decision our party took on the 11th of November 2023 to not support the government. We have maintained that decision taken by the central committee of the party without violating it. Everyone's stance is that Sajith Premadasa should win, and we need to defeat the current government and the president. We need to create a new government without theft and corruption. A strong government which can take the country forward.
ඒ ආණ්ඩුව හොරකම් නොකරන දූෂිත නොවන ආණ්ඩුවක් බවට පත් කරගත යුතුයි. සහ සමාජයේ ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න පුළුවන් ශක්තිමත් මේ රට ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න පුළුවන් ශක්තිමත් ආණ්ඩුවක් බවට පත් කළ යුතුයි.
අපේ අනන්‍යතාවය රැකගන්න 7 වෙනිදා ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමා සමගත් සමගි ජනබල වේගය සමගත් ගිවිසුම් ප්‍රකාරව එකඟතාවයකට යාමට අපේක්ෂා කරමු.
A special meeting was held today between the Election Commission, election officials, assistant election commissioners and deputy election commissioners. The Election Commission said that 14 candidates have deposited bonds so far for the presidential election.
The Election Commission convened a special meeting today involving election officials, assistant election commissioners and deputy election commissioners across all districts.
Our focus is on informing about the acceptance of nominations and the circulars issued, as well as clearing any doubts regarding these matters. Additionally, we discussed plans for the upcoming elections. The government printer has already printed all necessary documents, including nomination papers and receipts for bond deposits. We are currently accepting postal vote applications and everything is proceeding according to plan.
All ministry secretaries are scheduled to convene a meeting at the Election Commission next week.
Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka decides. Sri Lanka decides. The power of the people.
A large number of people, including high-ranking officials and religious leaders, gathered to pay their final respects to the late Venerable Dr. Galaboda Gnanissarathero, the chief prelate of the Colombo New Quarter and the chief incumbent of the Ganga Ramaya temple.
The mortal remains of Venerable Dr. Galaboda Gnanissarathero were made available for the public to pay their last respects at the Ganga Ramaya temple earlier this morning. Thousands of people lined up to pay their respects. Among the prominent figures present were Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, former Presidents Mahinda Rajapaksa and Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abeyewardena.
කිසිදු අවස්ථාවක උන්වහන්සේ අමුතුවෙන් විශේෂයෙන් බැබලෙන්න ගියේ නැහැ. එසේ වුවත් උන්වහන්සේට සමාජයේ ගෞරවය, ප්‍රණාමය, භක්තිය නොඅඩුව හිමි වුණා කියන එකයි මගේ විශ්වාසය. ඒකට හේතුව උන්වහන්සේ තුල පැවතිච්ච මේ නිර්හංකාරී ධාම වැදගත් සුවිශේෂී ගුණාංගය නිසා.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ තරුණ පරපුරේ අනාගතයේ වෙනුවෙනුත් කරන ලද නොයෙකුත් පරිත්‍යාගයන් උන්වහන්සේගේ සේවාව අමිල සේවාවක් ඒ මිල කරන්නට බැහැ. උන්වහන්සේ විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ ප්‍රදේශයේ ඉන්න දිලිඳු දරුවන්ට අධ්‍යාපනය ලබා දීමට ක්‍රියා කළ ආකාරය ප්‍රශංසනීයයි. උන්වහන්සේ ප්‍රාර්ථනා කළ අමා මහ නිවන් සුවය ලැබෙන්නට කියලා හිත සිතින්ම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
උන්වහන්සේ මුළු ජාතියක් පුබුදෝපු නායකයෙක්. ඕනෑම අවස්ථාවක රටේ ඕනෑම කෙනෙකුට ඇවිල්ලා උපදෙස් ගන්න පුළුවන් නායකත්වයක් ප්‍රගුණ කරපු එක්කෙනෙක් හැටියටයි අපි දකින්නේ.
Venerable Dr. Galaboda Gnanissarathero will be cremated with state honours on Monday at the Ganga Ramaya temple.
Archaeologists have made a remarkable discovery in Polonnaruwa. In the heart of Sri Lanka, the remains of an ancient garden concealed beneath the layers of time using a technology known as light detection and ranging or LiDAR.
Using cutting-edge LiDAR technology, a team led by Professor Prashanta Gunawardena from the University of Kelaniya has unearthed compelling evidence of a once thriving green space within the inner city of Polonnaruwa. This groundbreaking research marks the first application of LiDAR technology in Sri Lanka.
What is LiDAR technology?
Light detection and ranging or LiDAR sensor devices have a wide range of applications. Used in modern cars and drones, LiDAR sensors also find utility in fields such as archaeology, agriculture and air pollution monitoring. The technology's core feature is its ability to scan the surrounding environment both from air and ground.
How does LiDAR technology work in archaeological exploration?
LiDAR's capacity to emit rays in a 360-degree pattern makes it invaluable for mapping challenging terrains such as caves and mines. This technology has yielded groundbreaking discoveries such as mapping Cambodia's Angkor Wat and uncovering hidden Mayan cities in Guatemala's jungles.
What are the key features of the newly discovered garden in Polonnaruwa?
Sri Lanka, with its rich history and many unexplored ruins, is an ideal candidate for LiDAR-based archaeological exploration. The newly discovered garden offers a glimpse into the grandeur of Polonnaruwa, a city that flourished as the second kingdom of Sri Lanka between the 11th and 13th centuries. Nestled between the city's northern gate and the royal palace of King Mahaparakramabahu, the garden features intricate waterworks, including 4 interconnected ponds and a well-planned road system enclosed by brick walls. Established by King Vijayabahu I of Polonnaruwa in 1070 AD, Polonnaruwa's inner city flourished under the subsequent rulers until 1215 AD. Professor Gunawardena suggests that this garden's design may resemble Sigiriya's famed gardens.
We conducted a thorough GPR survey and discovered brick foundation walls approximately 1 meter beneath the surface. This prompted a LiDAR survey of the inner city and surrounding areas. The LiDAR data unveiled several pond complexes and connecting roads.
This research project involves collaboration between the University of Kelania's Department of Archaeology, Dr. Keir Strickland from La Trobe University, the Department of Archaeology, Cultural Fund officials and students from the Rajarata, Jaffna and Peradeniya universities.
Step away from the conventional art of storytelling. Get ready for the Newsfirst Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfikar Farzan.
Welcome back. Continuing in more local news. A car accident claimed the lives of 2 people and left 2 others critically injured near Parliament this morning.
The accident was reported this morning opposite the Parliament grounds. The vehicle was speeding towards Poltuwa from Setsiripaya. The accident was captured on the dash cam of a vehicle in front of it. After colliding with the van, the car veered off the road and hit a tree. The impact was so severe that the car was split into 2. The occupants were admitted to the Sri Jayawardenapura General Hospital and Colombo South Teaching Hospital in Kalabovila. 2 victims had succumbed to their injuries. Police investigations indicate that excessive speed was the primary cause of the accident. The driver of the car has been apprehended and is currently in custody.
The remains of the Tamil Nadu fisherman who tragically lost his life when an Indian fishing vessel illegally entered the sea of Sri Lanka and capsized was brought to the Rameshwaram fishing harbour today and was handed over to his grieving relatives. Meanwhile, during his visit to Jaffna today, President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that Sri Lanka will initiate crucial discussions with India regarding the issue of Indian fishermen following the presidential election.
Indo-Lanka fishing controversy.
The body of the Tamil Nadu fisherman who died after an Indian fishing vessel capsized in the Sea of Sri Lanka was transported to the Rameshwaram fishing harbour with heavy police escort this morning. The deceased fisherman's body, accompanied by two fellow Indian fishermen, were handed over to the Indian High Commission in Jaffna yesterday. Thereafter, the two survivors and the remains were conveyed to the Indo-Lanka maritime border and handed over to the Indian naval authorities by their Sri Lankan counterparts. The remains were subsequently handed over to his relatives. The surviving Indian fisherman had this to say.
When we went fishing near Rameshwaram, the Sri Lankan Navy approached our border without lights. We had our lights on to watch for fish, but they collided with us. They didn't give us a warning. The boat capsized in just a minute. We couldn't grab life jackets, GPS or phones. We swam away and screamed for help. Then they turned on a light and rescued us. After 45 minutes, we found our colleague unconscious. They didn't hurt us, but they didn't give us food or water. Who can we go to? The government, Prime Minister Modi and the Tamil Nadu Minister.
Newsfirst inquired spokesperson of Sri Lanka Navy Captain Gayan Wickramasuriya about the matter. He denied the accusations, contending that the veracity of the border transgression claims could be ascertained through the GPS data available to both nations. He also affirmed that all facilities were provided to the two fishermen who expressed their gratitude upon departure. Meanwhile, he added that the search for the missing fisherman was ongoing and expressed optimism about finding him alive. The ongoing indefinite strike by Rameshwaram fishermen, precipitated by the tragic demise of a fellow fisherman, persists in their demand for justice and a durable solution to the community's enduring challenges. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Navy arrested 4 Indian fishermen who had illegally entered the Sea of Sri Lanka today and were engaged in fishing activities in Sri Lanka's northern seas. The Navy also seized fishing vessels belonging to the fishermen. Meanwhile, during his visit to Jaffna today, President Ranil Wickramasinghe also commented on the Indo-Lanka fishing controversy.
We have taken our own stand on that issue. Forget about the Indian government. We have been very, very strong. And we are going ahead protecting our fishermen, and after presidential elections, we'll be having some serious talks with India. But you must know, the thing is that some of the Indian fishermen have families here and some of our fishermen have families there. That's also part of the situation. It's a very complex one.
Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nanayakara said that steps will be taken to bring the Sri Lankans back to the country if the conflicts in the Middle East escalate.
Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nanayakara pointed out that 12,000 Sri Lankan workers are in Israel, 15,000 in Jordan, 7,500 in Lebanon and around 500 in Egypt working in conflict zones. He highlighted that over $5 million have been allocated for this purpose. The minister also said that plans are underway to provide all necessary facilities to the Sri Lankans in the Middle East until they are brought back to the island. Minister Manusha Nanayakara announced that the President has instructed to bring Sri Lankans from the Middle East and that a committee has also been appointed for this matter. The Middle East region is currently in a critical situation due to the intervention of Hezbollah and Iran in the Israel-Hamas war.
Last month, this time, a world of stories, knowledge and music just out of reach. Sri Gunananda, a small school in rural Sri Lanka, yearning to learn. A new chapter has begun. Classrooms, once quiet, now hum with the joy of discovery, music and stories, sparking imaginations. Gamadda, for the people, by the people.
Welcome back. Day 46 of the third phase of the LOLC Divisavya program, which is being carried out for the betterment of Sri Lanka's future generation, got underway today.
Under the Divisavya program, exercise books and stationery equipment required for a year are distributed free of charge to government schools with less than 150 students. Today's program was centered around the Nuwara district. Accordingly, school bags and stationery equipment were donated to students of Halpala Junior School, Haro Tamil Vidyalaya, Vavendon Tamil Junior School and Maimoli Tamil Primary School. Books and stationery were also distributed at the Kodmale Zonal Education Office. The LLC Divisavi program continues to forge ahead for the future generation of Sri Lanka.
A major political opposition movement in Venezuela said its headquarters in the capital Caracas was vandalized overnight as tensions escalate in the aftermath of President Nicolas Maduro's disputed election victory.
Wente, Venezuela, the movement headed by opposition leader Mario Corina Machado, said 6 unidentified men wearing hoods and carrying guns overpowered its security guards to get into the office. Images published on social media showed several walls covered in black spray paint. The movement said, quote-unquote, "We denounce the attacks and insecurity to which are subjected for political reasons." The news comes a day after Machado urged Venezuelans to take to the streets on Saturday to protest against Maduro's re-election, which has thrust the South American nation into a political crisis. Maduro faces growing international pressure to release the full vote breakdown from Sunday's election amid concerns his government could launch a wider crackdown on opposition leaders and protesters. Earlier this week, the National Electoral Council formally declared Maduro the winner of the vote. It said that with 96.9% of the tally sheets counted, Maduro had 52% support compared with 43% for main opposition challenger Edmundo Gonzalez. But the opposition has said its tally of about 90% of the votes showed Gonzalez received more than double the support of the incumbent.
In more news overseas, United States Vice President Kamala Harris has secured the votes needed to become the Democratic 2024 presidential nominee, the party's chairman said, setting up a November showdown against Republican Donald Trump.
Democratic National Committee Chair James Harrison said that United States Vice President Kamala Harris had crossed the threshold of delegates' votes needed to clinch the nomination. The online voting process, known as virtual roll call, does not formally end until Monday. Harris, the first woman of color and the first Asian American vice president in the U.S. history, is now poised to be the first woman of color at the top of a major U.S. political party's ticket. She wrote on social media, quote, "I'm honored to be the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. I will officially accept the nomination next week," unquote. She also said that this campaign is about people coming together, fueled by love of country, to fight for the best of who we are.
Sri Lanka's Tharushi Karunaratne finished 7th in the 4th of the heat repechage round for the women's 800 meters at the Paris 2024 Olympics.
Championship of the junior champions.
Sri Lanka's Olympic hopeful Tharushi Karunaratne took to the track at the Paris Olympic Stadium last night. She competed in the 6th heat of the preliminary round for the women's 800 meters, where she secured 8th place and narrowly missed qualifying for the semi-finals. However, a new pathway opened for Karunaratne when the Paris Olympics introduced the repechage round, a groundbreaking opportunity for athletes who fell short in the preliminary heats of the select events. Competing in the 4th repechage heat today, she clocked a time of 2 minutes and 6.66 seconds in this round. Unfortunately, only the heat winner advances to the semi-finals. Newsfirst congratulates Tharushi Karunaratne, Sri Lanka's pride and the reigning Asian 800-meter champion, for her inspiring Olympic journey. We eagerly anticipate her future golden moments on the global athletics stage.
Day 1 of Titan Games, a breakdance and all-style dance competition organized by the French Embassy to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, got underway today.
City of Lights is hosting the 2024 Summer Games. Now, starting from thrilling track and field showdowns to amazing aquatic feats, the greatest athletes from all around the world are gathered in Paris, France for the 2024 Olympics, a true celebration of sportsmanship and talent. Now, a new discipline was introduced to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, and that is none other than breakdancing, also known as breaking. With the aim of promoting breakdancing or breaking in the Sri Lankan professional arena, the Embassy of France in Sri Lanka brings thrilling news to all Sri Lankan dance enthusiasts. The Titan Games 2024, a breakdancing and all-style dance competition, is all set to get underway tomorrow. 2020
7 years right now. I started when I was very young in France, and I make a lot of competition since that, became world champion. It's my second time here in Sri Lanka. I came like 10 years ago, and the breaking scene was there but not that big, and now coming for the second time here teaching, the level grow, they have more and more dancer. I can see the skills was improved, and I'm very happy to be back and to share with them, because like the vibe was there, so I give everything. I was sweat and I really enjoy it. Can't wait for the battle now.
So Titan Games is all island breakdance and all style dance competition and championship that is happening this weekend, 3rd and 4th of August. It's organized in the frame of Olympic Games that are happening in Paris at this very moment. And so for Paris Olympics 2024, breakdance, it's the first time that breakdance is a featured discipline. So we wanted to pay tribute to this discipline, to breakdance, and we also wanted to highlight the breakdance scene that is very active and very talented in Sri Lanka.
A few Sri Lankan breakdancers also spoke to Newsfirst.
I started listening to rap music when I was very young. So that was like when I was like 10 to 11 years old. And then I kind of fell in love with the culture. And like the ways and it's like a cool vibe, and it's always being fun and happy. So I wanted to have that more. And then I kind of saw breaking through people like Lilu and b-boys like that from abroad, and I got inspired. I'm pretty happy that the Titan Games is back, and there are going to be more events, and that breaking is an official sport in the Olympics.
So I started breaking 16 years ago. Throughout my journey I had so many injuries, and I thought of stopping dancing, but because I did breakdancing, it's a different aspect, because it motivates you and stuff. So happy to know that this dance discipline has become a discipline in the Olympics right now. So there are opportunities even for the dancers in Sri Lanka. If they work hard, they can even go to the Olympics one day.
The battle rounds of the Titan Games will be held tomorrow at the Royal Mass Arena, where much excitement is.
And that wraps up the news for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Do take care and good night.